Good morning. I love you. Here we are with a continuation of the humble adventures and tales of Master Nathaniel Edward Mann. Part 2. The Magic of Nature. Nate had brought his picnic mat and basket along, which he was using to sit on. The mat, that is. He wasn't sitting on the basket. Despite the fact that baskets are generally intended to carry things in and not to be sat upon, and given the fact that its construction material was most suited to tasks as such that it was designed for, it made the most sense from a practical perspective that he carried on using it as intended, as a basket. Having said that, however, he had faith that it was sturdy enough to hold his weight should he have need of a chair and happen only to be carrying his basket, and kept that choice within his awareness bank of available options, which of course is infinite. Alternative continuation. This story finds our beloved Nathaniel, or Nate, as those close to him know him, sitting serenely high above a grassy knoll, with the glorious warmth of the sun radiating warmly upon him as it filtered through the copse of nearby trees, surrounded by the beauty and majesty of nature in her abundance. The trees, the grass, the birds singing sweetly as the gentle kiss of the warm, refreshing breeze caresses the delicate yet sturdy wings of butterflies as they fly from flower to flower in an endless expression of loving creativity within the adoring embrace of Mother Nature. Overlooking the distant city far below, in contemplation of these ideas, and in full loving gratitude for the moment in which he finds himself, which is eternally now. Life was, strike through, is perfect. Nate had reached an understanding of things being all that is, that filled him with appreciation, gratitude, love, and understanding, compassion, and above all, pure joy at the potential and the possibility of and in the perfection of all creation and his own place within it. He hadn't only discovered the meaning of true happiness, he had found the source. And he embodied it through the loving expression of Mother Nature that he understood himself to be. As Nate sat in contemplation, he recalled that everything throughout his entire life, every echo of joyful laughter, every saline drop of salty tear, every ecstatic pleasure, every excruciating pain, every single moment that he had experienced until this very moment was lovingly conducive to the state of being in which he found himself now. In other words, he discovered that all he had lived, experienced, and discovered was what had brought him to exactly where he is. And that was here. In awareness of who and what he truly is, and how he serves as the truest expression of his highest self. Nate understood that all moments of his life, no matter how they seemed nor what they presented at the time, held immense value. The good times, the bad times, the happy times, and the sad ones. He considered that he would never have been able to appreciate the good or happy times without the contrasting experiences of bad and sad. Besides, he thought to himself, who decided what was good and bad anyway? And if we are able to learn something of value from difficult, bad or sad situations, and since we cannot help but learn from our surroundings, our interactions, we are always learning. Didn't that make them ultimately good, since they were aiding in elevating our understanding of ourselves? Absolutely! So basically, it's all good. He recalled a notion of not being able to fully realize the light without knowing the dark. And all that meant was that we have a much greater appreciation of what the light truly is, having journeyed through our own darkness, or that which we might label as such. In this way, he understood that all perceived darkness was truly an expression of the light, helping us to realize the light through reflection. Essentially, the worst times helped him to discover the greatest truths of his being. So dark truly is light, as all is. Life wasn't always like this for him, however. In terms of his perception and understanding, his ways of seeing and being in the world, and part of his appreciation of his awareness at his realization was the knowledge that, as he himself had awakened to the full realization of self, that would mean a benefit for the whole of humanity, as he had come to realize through his knowing that the experience of the one informs the whole for the greater good. His knowledge was not something that anybody had told him was so, nor was it something he had otherwise heard, read, watched, nor had to think about to be realized. It came with the insight of true knowing. Nate understood that many of his fellow humans didn't really comprehend the difference between thinking and knowing, though he had discovered the difference through his own experience and was able to explain it in many ways. For example, consider last time you had to choose an item to purchase from a selection of available items. You may have made your decision after considering which color you'd like, or size you'd prefer, perhaps, or flavor. That may have been a quick decision, or it may have taken some time, though it would have required conscious thought applied through the intellect to arrive at a satisfactory conclusion. That means you had to think about it. Now, consider the last time that you suddenly had to make a dash for the loo, the bathroom, the toilet, the WC, the outhouse, as it is in my current situation. Because if you held on any longer, there was a good chance you might just burst. You didn't have to think about needing the toilet, or what color, or flavor, or texture you might enjoy. You just knew you had to go. You just knew you had to go. Immediately. Although somewhat simple, this example serves most to easily understand the difference between thinking and knowing. Thank you. That's the end of part 2. The next part will be the main sketch, the first sketch in the series, and we'll get on to that. Thank you for watching. Good morning. I love you.